So nice to see you all, and I'm glad you've made it. Some have made very long journeys, some less long, but it's lovely that you're here. I'd like to welcome to this press conference today Archbishop Foley Beach, the chairman of Gafcon Global and primate of the Anglican Church of North America, Archbishop Ben Koshi, the General Secretary of Gafcon Global and Archbishop in the Anglican Church of Nigeria, and the Reverend Canon Daniel Willis, the Gafcon Global Operations Manager. This press conference is an opportunity for the Chairman, the General Secretary and the Operations Manager to welcome you to this conference, and after they each give a short statement, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. And I'm going to hand it over to them now.
There we go, testing. All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Kigali. We are excited to be here this week. We have about 1,300 folks that have traveled from about 50 nations for this Gafcon 4 event. We are excited about what the Lord is doing in our midst. We have a great week planned with good Bible teaching, good worship, good prayer time, and a lot of discussion about the current issues in the Anglican world. I'm going to turn it over to Ben Kwashi, see if you have a few words, and then we'll take questions.
Good afternoon and welcome to Gafcon 4 in Kigali. We're excited to be here. It's a landmark Gafcon for us because in the last 5 years, we've seen COVID, we've seen my own struggles with cancer twice, and God has given us victory. And we're trusting God that Gafcon 4 will launch us into the future of the movement in the Anglican Communion. In particular, I'm looking at this meeting. If it pleases God, let it be another Pentecost for the church. That the church will rediscover itself in a Reformation movement as it was for our founding fathers, so that the church can be clear in its focus and mission and ministry. That's what I'm looking forward to. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon, and let me add my welcome to you. It's great to see you all here. As we come to Kigali 4, the program that we have is an exciting program, I think, and there are lots of discussions that will take place across the world, the week, that will address many of the problems that we're seeing around the world. Whether we will be able to solve them or not, that's another question. We are praying and hoping. But what we do want to see is that our Lord Jesus is glorified, that people are encouraged to go out and to continue in mission, and that as you meet people across the world, from across the world, you will make new friendships, and you'll be encouraged to stand firm on the truth of the Gospels, because we've seen so much of the departure from the Word, and we, as we come together, are people who believe the Word of God and want to proclaim it clearly to the nations. So we're looking forward to that. I think there'll be lots of exciting things that will take place, and we will enjoy one another's company, and we will see where we go. But I think as we've looked at the week, well, as we've been preparing, one of the great things that has happened is that there's been a significant amount of opposition. And I think that's an indication that something big is going to happen out of this week. We've had people praying constantly around the world, and the number of things that have happened on the way, even in the last few days. The trouble in Sudan, people having to cancel because they couldn't get flights, people stranded all over the place. Just another indication of the evil one trying to bring havoc and stop this from taking place. So I think we're in for a great week. Thanks, Tess.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to questions. Anybody want to go first?
My name is John Sanderman. I'm here for my own blog, The Other Cheek, Christianity Today, and Gafcon podcast. I'm wondering if the panel can tell us how many primates have made it. I'm sure, Daniel, you're keeping score of who's here, who's not, and perhaps give us an indication of which provinces they've come from.
I'll try to do this from memory. Archbishop Ndikuba from Nigeria, Archbishop Stephen Kasimba from Uganda, Archbishop Laurent Mbanda from Rwanda, who's our host. Archbishop Stephen Tan was at the airport and had heart issues and had to go to the hospital, so he's not here, from Myanmar. Archbishop, my goodness, I'm going blank. Thank you. Miguel Ochoa from Brazil, Archbishop Tito Savala from Chile, Ole Sapit, Archbishop Ole Sapit from Kenya. Archbishop Sami Shaheta will be here tomorrow from the province of Alexandria. And who am I leaving out? Archbishop James Wong from Indian Ocean, Archbishop Kanishka Raphael from Sydney. And I think that's... Oh, thank you. Yes, South Sudan. Archbishop Justin Body from South Sudan. Archbishop Ezekiel Kondo could not get out of Sudan because of what's happening there. The airport's closed down, and he could not be with us. And Archbishop Andre Titris got called to a government meeting in Congo and could not come.
Bishops leading the organization of the conference took me aside this morning and said, over the next day and a half, there'll be sort of a sounding of the delegates on what they're expecting in the final draft document. And he asked if I would avoid publishing those comments until a final communique is put together. His concern was that somebody says something excitable that can create a headline and have its own momentum. Question is, what are the ground rules for reporting on the proceedings, and will you tell us when we can report and when we cannot report?
I'm going to ask Daniel to answer that, but let me just say, the process for commenting and having input into the final statement is really amazing. And so people are going to be able to speak out a lot. So you're going to hear a lot of different things, and so it really would be premature until the final draft. But anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, pass the football. The conference is shorter than previous conferences, and so what has happened in the past is that when we arrive, nothing of the statement has been written. Because we need to present a draft statement reading to the whole delegation by Wednesday afternoon, there's been some work being done prior to us arriving. And the primates have all been involved in that, giving some input to start off with, so that the shape of the statement might be brought forward on Wednesday. And as we meet through Tuesday, Wednesday, as we hear the chairman and the general secretary tonight, all of those things will start to come into the statement. We will then have opportunity after the draft statement is read on Wednesday afternoon, to break up into our regions and into branches and to discuss it. The primates will then meet on Thursday morning and discuss or bring that feedback from their regions and give feedback to the statement committee as to whether they've been listening and hearing correctly or whether there needs to be significant revision on the statement. And then they will be working solidly from about lunchtime on Thursday to ensure that the statement is ready to be read at 11 a.m. on Friday morning. So the reason we've said just be cautious about what you say is simply because we don't know the final shape until Friday, and what might have been said on Wednesday afternoon may have been deleted and significantly revised by Friday morning. But if you wish to report on something that you've heard in terms of the discussions that are being said and had around the conference centre, then that's free to be broadcast.
And just a note from the conference media manager, that's me, is maybe if you're going to report during the week on the production of the statement, I think just keep in mind and maybe always mention that we're in draft. It's always draft until Friday, until the official statement reading. And so I think everything's open to change, and we want to make sure that people know that.
Christian Today and Susie Leaf, Christian Today, and the Anglican Futures blog. There's been quite a lot of talk in the run-up to this gathering about the sort of overlap between Gafcon and Global South. I'm just wondering how much communication's been happening. Is that formal or informal, and how should we be reporting that kind of stuff?
As you know, as most of you know, actually most of the Global South primates are also Gafcon primates. But we did have a meeting with the leaders of both groups, the chairs and vice chairs and the general secretaries, and had very good discussion to kind of lay out some ground for when we're going to discuss later this week. So we'll be gathering together later this week, and we'll just see where that goes.
Another question?
Regarding some of the nations that are represented here, are there any delegates from nations to this Gafcon who have come from places that haven't been previously represented at prior conferences? Thank you.
Yes, great question, thank you. We were very excited about having people come from different places. So I think if I can go through them, and I hope I don't miss any, Angola, Bolivia, Namibia, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Peru, Uruguay. We did have one coming from Paraguay, but due to health problems, had to cancel. When we were in Jerusalem, we didn't have the Sudanese people with us, so some of those are with us this week. I think that covers the new attendees.
Another question? Anyone? George?
What should we look forward to tonight? What do you think are the big things we should take away?
I would say that you take particular note of the chairman's address. That it's going to come with...
No pressure.
No, not at all, not at all. And and perhaps mine too, but to a lesser degree in that regard.
We'll also be hearing from the Prime Minister of Rwanda. He'll be with us as well, and I'm not sure what he's going to say.
Yep, down here.
Grey Waterfall, the Anglican network in Europe. Just following on, given the considerable overlap between Global South and Gafcon, can you comment as to how there may or may not be a growing common mind and shared strategy in dealing with the current issues in the communion?
I think it's probably premature for me to speculate too much, other than that you've seen by our public statements that we're saying a lot of the same things. And so we'll just see what happens this week. I know there's a lot of talk about merging the two groups. I think that's premature as well, because our focus has been so different. But being able to work together in very collaborative ways and strategic ways, I think you're going to see a lot of that.
Hi, Francis Capitano from the American Anglican Council. I was just wondering what type of media channels and communication will be happening in languages other than English, if there are any resources.
Yeah, we aren't broadcasting specifically in any other language. English has been the language that we're working on. We do have some translation of things happening, but part of the problem that we have is that we don't have a large staff, and the cost of professional translators is enormous, and that would have blown our budget more than we've already blown it. So sorry about that. But we do have some people who are working on translating particular things into Portuguese, Spanish, Swahili. Have I got another one? French.
And where will those resources be made available?
They'll talk to the media officer and we'll get them through the media officer.
Do we have one? Did you put your hand up before? Sam? No? Okay, never mind. Anyone else?
Just to follow up my earlier question about primates, given there is that big overlap between GSFA and Gafcon primates, are there, and I assume the list you gave earlier, is that big overlap between GSFA and Gafcon primates, are there, and I assume the list you gave earlier was of the Gafcon primates, are there any Global South primates here who are non-Gafcon primates?
That's a good question, and I don't know. Okay, I think only the General Secretary, which is Renis Panaya, the retired Bishop of Singapore.
We've got time for a few more questions, if anyone. Yep, George?
Where will we work during the week? Where will we sit during the
Yes,
proceedings?
I will. When we finish the press conference, I will tell you all, so don't run away. Yes, just one down here. Thanks, Jody.
Just for the sake of completeness, in terms of those who are representing jurisdictions, could you tell us who is here from a non-provincial jurisdiction, and those who are Gafcon, and maybe there are others from non-provincial jurisdictions who are GSFA?
We have branches across the world, and so all of those branches have been represented here. So if I started Gafcon Ireland, we've got Gafcon GB&E, Great Britain and Europe. We've got Gafcon Ghana, Gafcon South Africa, or Reach South Africa. We've got Gafcon Tanzania, Gafcon in New Zealand, the Diocese of New Zealand, of course, the Confessing Church of Aotearoa in New Zealand, or Aotearoa in New Zealand, I'll get it right, and the Gafcon Australia. We've got our regional secretaries who are representing the 5 regions of the world, so Europe, West Africa, East Africa, Asia, Oceania, and then the Americas. So all of those regions are represented, and I think I've covered all the branches.
Diocese of the Southern Cross?
Sorry? Oh, the Diocese of the Southern Cross, yes, that's a new diocese that's recently been authorised by the Primates Council.
Any more questions? Oh, here we go, down here. Thanks, Jody.
Dan Lee from Anglican Futures in England. I heard a lovely rumour earlier that there are more bishops here than there were at the Lambeth conference. Is that accurate?
I don't know. How many? We have 315 or 320, so 320 bishops?
Something like that. Because of the problems with air flights and so on, we're not quite sure at this point, but we were expecting 315 to 320 bishops to attend.
And so I don't know how many were at Lambeth, so I don't know how that compares. But I don't really care. But anyway.
Anyone else?
This is also a nice question. I was going to say, you guys have been in Rwanda a little while. How's it been? What's your best memory or best thing you've seen in Rwanda so far?
Well, I've only been here since the other night, let's see, night before last. We arrived at the hotel about midnight. And so the best thing I've seen was I got to look out the window today and see some sunshine.
I've been here for 5 or 6 weeks, and if I think too deeply, I'll cry. I'm already tearing up. The people are wonderful. We've had a taxi driver who's been marvellous, and when we've left the apartment we were staying in and came here, he sent us a note blessing us in the name of Jesus Christ, and told us that his children love us because we'd given him the food that we'd left over in the apartment and some other things, and his wife was now making coffee for him with the coffee maker that we'd bought. The other very exciting story about that, I think, is that he came to love us so much, and on Sunday morning, church, a Nigerian rang him and asked if he would drive, because I'd given his number to this Nigerian minister, and he immediately rang me, the taxi driver, and said, "Pastor, are you going to church?" Because he needed to take me before he took the Nigerian. And the Nigerian was going in a different direction to the direction I would have been going in. So I said, "No, take him, it's fine." And again, from the apartment, the young people who were at the reception desk, just every day for the 5 weeks we were there, just a great camaraderie, a love. And as we were leaving, one of the girls stood up and prayed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. People here are amazing. If you know East Africa, you have to know West Africa to know Africa. Because in West Africa, we're different people. And I just love the people here. They're gentle, and the ambience of the environment is just fantastic. We took a walk yesterday up the hill from the hotel, and we were just thanking God all the way. It's a great hope in Africa, and Rwanda is part of it. Because when you look at what happened a few years back, a land of revival, the devil wanted to change the testimony of God's work, and yet God has turned the testimony around to be a place of forgiveness, reconciliation, human value, and capital development. It's just an amazing testimony of the gospel.
Archbishop Mbanda, he often says Rwanda is known as the land of 1,000 hills. He says he wants to let everybody know it's also a land of 1,000 smiles. Just the way the people are here. It's wonderful.
That brings us to the end of our time together. So thank you, Archbishop Ben, Archbishop Foley, and Daniel. Thank you for sharing with us. Yeah, that's everything. As they leave, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about media things.